Hey folks, Joko here from IELTS Temple, and this is the very first part of something I grandiosely called Project Pankaj, which was to help one young man improve his IELTS writing task score from 6.5 to something better. Why? Because he had shown an ability to do the other tasks, the writing, the listening and the speaking very well, getting a 9. And I made a big deal about it, and so now I'm going to take the next step and try to help him out. And we're actually going to look at 3 essays tonight. Try to anyway. Here's the first one. And I want to be cautious with this because over the last few weeks, as I've been talking to him, there's been some frustration in terms of, I'm never going to get better. I should just give this up. And I remember what Captain Kirk said in the Star Trek 3 movie when he said, Khan! What does that mean? I remember Ahmed Khan, who gave up his dream to do IELTS because of feedback he had received from me. And I don't want to be responsible for that again. I know it's a rather selfish motivation, but I'm going to be, let's put it this way, I'm going to be harsh on this essay, and then we'll look at the other 2 for improvement because I've looked at those 2 already and they're a little bit better than this first one. Which is a causes, problem, solutions essay. Now these come in 2 or 3 varieties, causes and solutions. Problem, what are the problems that exist and what are solutions? Sometimes this is paired up with a, to what extent type question. It's paired up with other questions, but let's look at the one we have tonight. It was taken randomly. I told him to pick a random number, and then we looked at Shelley's 100 essay blog and came up with this question. Global warming is one of the most serious issues facing the world today. Okay, what are the causes? What can governments and individuals, we have 2 actors here, do to solve the problem? Well, that's a big task. Solve the problem. All right. And with an essay like this, your structure should be pretty straightforward in terms of paragraphs, in that introduction, problems, solutions, conclusion, or excuse me, causes, solutions, conclusions. And you should spend a couple of minutes brainstorming, and that is coming up with ideas and filtering them down to 1 or 2. It does say causes, but so you probably do at least 2 causes. But if you just came up with 1, that wouldn't be so bad. And the solution should relate to the cause that you're talking about. All right, to be a top-notch essay. So what do we have here? Let's let our little speaking man help.
Global warming is a long-term increase in the Earth's temperature, and it is one of the serious issue being faced by humanity in 21st century. There are many causes which results in global warming, with deforestation and burning of fossil fuel being the main culprit.
Okay, now beginning your essay with a definition of the topic is one technique that people can use. It's effective, usually, and global warming is sort of one of those things that may or may not, I don't know. I don't think that it requires definition. I think that it's expansive enough that everyone is, it's out there and people know what it means. And I had a problem with long-term increase. I looked at this for a while and said, well, long-term, what do you mean by that? And the more I had to think about it, the more it just clicked that that's not a very clear adjective to be using with the word increase. And did I put that hyphen in there, or did he? It doesn't matter. It can be with or without a hyphen, that phrase. Or is it? I'll have to go look that up. Increase in the Earth's temperature. Well, the Earth is a huge place, and it's the surface of the Earth that is warming. Specifically, the atmosphere is warming, and the seas, but I'd be very picky here, but in the Earth's, in the surface temperatures of the Earth. And is one of this we already went over in an error correction thing and it is one of the most serious issues. And I didn't realize, but when I look back and I see up here, one of the most serious issues. It must be frustrating for IELTS students because sometimes experts say things like, it's okay to repeat words from the question. And it's true, it is words. But entire phrases like that does not show the lexical resource that you have. Issues in the 21st century. Okay. There are many causes which result. Now, what is a cause? A cause is something that results in something else. So to say causes which result is, I put it in blue because it's kind of incoherent. There are many causes to, or many causes which lead to global warming. And global warming is capitalized in this question because it is the first letter of a sentence. It's okay to be capitalized here because it's the first letter in a sentence, but not here. With deeper, and the burning of fossil fuel being the main culprit. There's two of them, so culprits. Okay, I like the vocabulary. Culprits, burning of fossil fuel, that's a good collocation. Deforestation is good uncommon lexices. All right, that's a good start. But what about solutions? And what are we going to do to solve the problem? Your introduction should mention everything that you're going to, and all of the big things. So you got to put that in there as well. And really, when I look at the next state, the lack of transition from, well, deforestation. Okay, I would put then say, there are many causes which result in global warming. The burning of fossil fuels being one, or being one main culprit, and deforestation being the other. Now you've got deforestation in your head because, or the reader does, and that leads into the next paragraph. But just kind of naked like this, it's could have better cohesion. Okay, there's a process. Not a process. Excessive cutting of forests for human needs. Why else would we cut forests? Forests act, plural, act, as a sink. Ooh, good, I like that. They are, in fact, a carbon sink. Okay, and we would have to know what carbon dioxide we were talking about to use a definitive defining pronoun, defining article, and carbon dioxide is not capitalized. It is a sink for carbon. Carbon is a molecule. So when a large scale, that's fine either way, clearing of trees is done. Oh, passive voice, good. It releases the stored CO2 into the atmosphere. Now, one bit of high-level grammar and structure that I know you're capable of, Pankaj, is parallelism. I could never say that word. Parallelism. There he goes. Not parallelism. Parallelism. What it is that when you've got two halves of something, okay, they should, of a sentence or a list or anything like that, you should, okay, so we've got, so here's one clause, and then here's another clause. So they should have the same structure. So when a large-scale clearing of forests is done, stored CO2 is released into the atmosphere. Parallel structures. This increased concentration of CO2, you mentioned it before, but not specifically. You did mention before. In the atmosphere, okay, CO2 into the atmosphere, reacts with the oxygen molecules of the ozone layer. Yes, Oxygen is not capitalized, neither is ozone layer. Oxygen molecules in the ozone layer, thereby depleting it, a phenomenon known as ozone layer depletion. Well, phenomenon is used correctly there, but so what you're saying is that when the ozone layer is depleted, we call it ozone layer depletion. It's kind of repeating yourself. It's not needed. The ozone layer is responsible for filtering. All right. Yes, we use is responsible for to describe processes that happen without anyone doing them. But I would take advantage of the opportunity to use as many verbs that are active verbs or other verbs other than is, such as filter. The ozone layer filters out high-frequency sun rays. Okay, but since is rather informal, it is in apostrophe being broken down by increased CO2. It filters less of the sun's rays, thereby increasing the Earth's temperature, thereby depleting it, thereby increasing the Earth's temperature. It is what they say, overuse of and it'll hurt your CC, of the same connectors, increasing the Earth's temperature. Okay? Increase, increased, increasing, higher, denser, or excuse me, temperatures, higher, warmer, thereby warming the Earth. Earth's temperature, Earth's temperature. You have good vocabulary. Show it by not repeating the same words so often. You can see over here how many times you used fossil or fossils. Okay, we talked about this in the error correction. The burning of fossil fuels, and we don't need N gases there. Now, here you were fossil fuel or fossil fuels. Which is it? Either one is okay, but choose one and go with it. Here you said fossil fuel. Here we said, in fact, actually, burning of fossil fuel, burning of fossil fuel. Yes, it is, you should mention what your culprits are, but to avoid repetition, use different phrasing. Fossil fuel, fossil fuels, like coal. Fossil fuels, comma, like coal, comma, fuels are mainly used in coal plants. Okay, coal is used in coal plants to generate electricity. Okay, how about is mainly used to generate electricity? In this process, what process? Is it a process? We haven't described a process yet. In the process of generating electron, in the process, okay. What is it? Coal, I suppose, releases harmful gases into the atmosphere. Green. Why did I say green? These gases, plural, react with other gases. What are these gases? To further break down the ozone layer. How? Is it more depletion? Is it more CO2? Okay. In this process, it releases. See, you have to make a case. You have to support your idea that fossil fuel increases global warming, or it leads to more climate change. You don't have to be a scientist in climatology or be a environmentalist to do well in this type of essay. You don't even need to know what the causes are. If you choose one, however, be sure you can support it with specific descriptions as to what happens if you choose to go that way. And this is rather, rather vague. What gases? And break down the ozone layer. Now, I say that because it actually is not what happens, but that doesn't matter. The ozone layer has nothing to do with global warming. The ozone layer is responsible, yes, for filtering out infrared rays, true, and however, that does not affect global warming. It affects the people's likelihood to get things like skin cancer, as these infrared rays are harmful to us. Global warming is caused by the greenhouse effect, which is increased density of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, which does not allow for the heat of the Earth to radiate back out into space. It traps the heat like it in a greenhouse. You don't have to know that to do IELTS, to write a kind of essay like this, but I would like to see more description of what you're trying to say, and that's the support that you need to say it is responsible for global warming. Okay, now we go on to solutions. There are many steps. Steps, okay, measures. There are many actions which should be immediately taken by the government and the individuals. The question says governments, quite correctly, because there are more than one governments. And with a plural, this should be, well, I'm putting it as yellow because instead of green, this should be green. It is a plural noun used in general, and that's one of the prime rules about using articles that you need to be aware of. That when we're talking in plural, generally speaking, there is no definite article. Control global warming, capitalized. Again, it's the same verbiage again and again. Global, used 6 times. Firstly, the government, again, we don't know what government, should impose a ban on the coal powerhouses, plural. Okay, and so the coal powerhouses, power plants, and look for good. The silver lining here is comma. Well, no, the silver lining here is no comma in that for that is that the authorities avoid idioms that you're not quite sure of. A silver lining is a unexpected good thing that comes from a problem, and that's not quite what you're describing here, is it? It says, well, fortunately, authorities have already started work in this direction and are trying to minimize fossil fuel consumption. Okay. Why did I go minimize? Oh yeah, because down here, minimize. All right. Railways are being electrified by the government. If it's an example of this, then you need to state one of the examples of this, and one of the examples of government, or one of the examples of how the state is trying to minimize, is taking measures, is the electrification of railways, so that it does not consume fossil fuel. Where do you think the electricity comes from? The electricity comes from the coal-powered plants. So make the trains electric all you want. It still is consuming fossil fuel. Furthermore, individuals. You used individuals. Copy, repeating yourself. Also need to step up. Good. All cannot be left to governments. As an individual, comma, one should try to minimize again. Minimize the use. How about, go out in the street and stand in front of the road saying, everyone get out of your car. Minimize your own use of cars as what burns? Cars burn. So they burn gas, olein, which is, again, fossil fuel. Switching to battery-powered vehicles, plural, seems, well, to who? To you? Would be positive here, be certain. An effective way to fight against global warming, as it does not burn fuel. Vehicles, they do not burn fuel. All right, to conclude, global warming is a threat to humanity. Steps like fossil fuel and improving green cover by reforestation. Hey, wait a minute. You didn't talk about this before. Remember, only in your conclusion, only bring up things that you've talked about in the essay. Yes, you talked about deforestation, but you didn't mention anything about reforestation or green cover, whatever that is the need of the hour, period, to fight against it. Just leave that part off. Okay, so as I've mentioned, got to work on those articles. Every grammar mistake is a little pinpoint, a little pin that gets stuck in you, and everyone, even however small, counts against you because it's not an error-free sentence in your grammar. And that includes capitalization. The cohesion needs a little more work. See, this sentence here would be an awesome topic sentence for this paragraph. Okay, instead, you chose to define the thing that you're mentioning, which is not a bad thing. But where is the topic sentence here? Okay, that it's increasing global warming. Okay, there is hope. Dun, 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 there's hope. Again, where I got this from is wordcounter.net. Is it .com or .net? No, it's .net, I'm pretty sure. And where they'll break you down, this is 1 times density. There's the essay itself. The red actually is from Grammarly. A little thing on my, I don't use, oh wait, where's the 2 times? Oh, I wonder if I can I make it appear? Can I do that? All right, so if this turns off the, if this turns off the video, I'll see you on the next one. Oh, wait. View. Large icons. Man, okay. Can we see that? Are we down here? Probably not. 24 minutes. Jesus Christ, it's way too long. Global warming. Well, thanks for spending the last half hour with me. Global warming 6 times. Fossil fuel 4 times. Fossil fuels 3 times. So 7 times together. Ozone layer 4. Okay, this tells you when you're using the combination too much.